Journey through the sands of time as we uncover the archaeological evidence and historical narratives behind the Bible's most profound stories. From the silent ruins of ancient civilizations to the scrolls that changed the world, this documentary explores the intersection of faith, history, and science. We analyze ancient findings, historical interpretations, and the artifacts that continue to baffle researchers today. Whether you are a history enthusiast or a seeker of truth, join us as we bridge the gap between ancient texts and modern discovery. Don't forget to check out our other deep dives into historical mysteries and archaeology. Welcome to a journey back in time, where the boundaries between legend and history blur into the sands of the ancient Near East. We are venturing into a world that has shaped billions of lives, exploring the archaeological remnants of stories that have echoed for millennia. Today, we peel back the layers of time to examine the factual foundations of some of the most debated narratives in existence. It is not just a study of ancient writings, but a deep exploration of the physical evidence left behind by long-lost civilizations. As we look at these ruins, we ask what truths they hold about our origins and the cultural environment of the biblical era. From the first spark of human records to the dramatic shifts of ancient empires, we are hunting for evidence. Prepare to see the past through the lens of modern discovery, challenging what you thought you knew about antiquity. We will traverse the cradle of civilization, connecting the dots between artifacts and ancient accounts that continue to define the human experience. Let the exploration of these silent, stone witnesses begin as we uncover the secrets buried beneath layers of dust. This is the story of our collective history, brought to life through the lens of objective archaeological inquiry and historical context. Our story begins long before the ink was dry on the earliest manuscripts, in the bustling centers of Mesopotamia where writing first emerged. Here, humanity began to record its daily life, trade, and even its deepest fears and hopes on tablets of wet clay. These fragments of history serve as our primary map, guiding us through the cultural landscape that influenced the early writers of the biblical tradition. It is a world of city-states and kings, where the rise of power was often accompanied by grand myths that mirrored later historical accounts. By studying these cuneiform records, researchers have found striking parallels that offer a context for the narratives found within the opening chapters of our most cherished texts. We look at the legal codes, creation myths, and flood stories that circulated in the atmosphere of the ancient world long before they were adapted. Understanding this context does not diminish the significance of the narratives but rather enriches our appreciation for the environment in which they were born and cultivated. We must consider the influence of the surrounding empires, such as the Sumerians and Akkadians, whose intellectual contributions paved the way for future generations. Each tablet is a time capsule, preserving the thoughts, values, and observations of people who lived thousands of years ago in a world vastly different from our own. As we decipher these symbols, we find ourselves reading the very thoughts of the ancients as they grappled with the mysteries of life, death, and the divine. As we move from the cradle of civilization, we arrive at the verdant banks of the Jordan, a lifeline for the people who migrated through this strategic corridor. This geography has dictated the rise and fall of countless nations, serving as a crossroads for trade, conquest, and the movement of ideas across continents. The terrain is rugged and unforgiving, yet it provided the stage for movements that would eventually coalesce into the nation of Israel. When we analyze the geography of the biblical narrative, we see a story that is deeply rooted in this specific physical landscape, from the mountains to the plains. Archaeological excavations throughout this region have consistently revealed the remains of fortified cities, simple nomadic camps, and defensive structures that align with historical records. It is within this complex web of geography and human settlement that the stories were lived and eventually memorialized for future centuries to study and contemplate. The land itself acts as a historical record, holding the secrets of ancient agriculture, warfare, and religious practice within its complex soil composition. We are tracing the footsteps of ancestors, looking for the physical markers that confirm their presence and their struggle to establish a foothold in a changing world. This is not just a study of distance, but a study of how the land shaped the identity of a people, forcing them to adapt and evolve in order to survive. The city gate was the heart of ancient civic life, the place where justice was administered, business was conducted, and the news of the day was shared. In the biblical account, these gates are often the sites of dramatic confrontations and crucial decisions that alter the course of history for the entire population. Archaeologists working in the Levant have unearthed remarkably similar structures, providing us with a tangible look at the scale and sophistication of these ancient urban centers. When we walk through these reconstructed gates in our mind's eye, we can almost hear the voices of the elders, the shouts of the merchants, and the trampling of guards. These sites offer more than just architectural interest, they provide evidence of the social hierarchy and the administrative functions that govern these ancient societies. By identifying the types of pottery, weaponry, and domestic items found near these entrances, we can build a profile of the people who gathered there each day. These locations were the primary interfaces between the internal life of the city and the wider world, serving as points of both protection and cultural exchange. They represent the stability that a settled civilization sought to achieve, standing as silent monuments to the ingenuity of the builders who laid these massive foundation stones. Today, they are the key to unlocking the daily reality of the people mentioned in the scriptures, showing us a life of work, law, and community interaction. Death in the ancient world was not the end of the narrative, but rather a transition marked by complex rituals, elaborate tombs, and offerings for the journey beyond. The archaeological study of these burial sites provides us with a hauntingly intimate glimpse into the lives of those who walked these paths thousands of years ago. By examining the remains, the grave goods, and the positioning of the interred, we can infer status, occupation, and even the prevailing beliefs about the afterlife at the time. These chambers are silent libraries of information, untouched by the passage of time, preserving the secrets of health, diet, and disease that defined the mortality of the era. The care taken in these burials reveals the value placed on lineage and the deep emotional connections that existed within families and communities. It also highlights the disparity between the wealthy, who were entombed with gold and fine ceramics, and the common people, who were laid to rest with simple, functional tools. Each discovery forces us to confront the humanity of the individuals behind the names and stories we encounter in our ancient texts. It is a humbling experience to stand in the presence of those who have been forgotten by history but preserved by the earth for our modern investigation. Their lives were the foundation upon which these grand historical narratives were built, and their final resting places are the keys to understanding their culture. The temple was the apex of ancient religious architecture, a physical manifestation of the community's relationship with the divine and the focal point of its identity. Throughout the ancient Near East, these structures were designed to impress, intimidate, and inspire, utilizing massive pillars, intricate carvings, and vast inner sanctums. The biblical descriptions of such structures, from the tabernacle to the grand temples, are often compared by scholars to the known architectural styles of the neighboring empires. This comparative study reveals a shared visual language of power and sanctity that was common across the region, regardless of the specific deity being worshipped. By looking at the floor plans, the orientation, and the remnants of ritual objects found at these sites, we can begin to reconstruct the religious life of the era. It was a life dominated by sacrifice, sensory experiences of incense and music, and the strictly regulated access to the holiest of spaces. The archaeological evidence challenges us to consider how these physical spaces reinforced the social and political order of the time, keeping the people aligned with their leaders and their gods. These temples were the engines of social cohesion, providing a sense of order and purpose that kept the civilization functioning despite external pressures and internal shifts. They remain the most enduring symbols of a lost world, standing as evidence of the immense effort and resources invested in maintaining this sacred connection. Economics in the ancient world were as complex and volatile as they are today, driven by trade, currency, and the fluctuating power of regional empires. The introduction of standardized coinage allowed for a new level of commerce that integrated disparate regions into a single, interconnected economic network. We find these coins in excavations far from their place of minting, indicating a level of international trade that was surprisingly advanced for its time. These artifacts serve as historical timestamps, helping archaeologists date layers of earth and understand the influence of foreign cultures on the local economy. When we find the coinage of a distant empire in a rural village, we are seeing the reach of global power and the economic reality of life under the shadow of foreign rule. It is a story of taxes, tribute, and the constant struggle to survive in an environment where your fate could be decided by the whims of a king in a far-off capital. These silver and bronze pieces were the engine of social change, enabling the growth of new markets and the spread of new ideas through the movement of merchants and travelers. They are the tangible proof of a society that was far more sophisticated than we often imagine, with systems of value and exchange that would have been recognizable to any modern economist. Each coin is a reminder of the human element in history, the daily pursuit of livelihood that persists regardless of the political or religious upheavals occurring around them. Pottery is the most common artifact recovered in archaeology, and it is arguably the most valuable tool for establishing a precise timeline for historical sites. By tracking the evolution of styles, clay composition, and firing techniques, we can create a chronology that anchors biblical events to the physical reality of the earth. Every culture had its own distinctive signature in its ceramics, allowing researchers to track migrations, trade routes, and even the slow assimilation of one group into another. This pottery typology is the backbone of archaeological research, providing the data necessary to resolve conflicts between textual accounts and the material evidence found in the ground. When we examine a simple cooking pot, we are looking at the daily labor of a family, their diet, and their household economy in a way that royal inscriptions can never show us. These fragments may seem insignificant compared to gold and stone, but they are the primary source of our understanding of common life. They tell us what was eaten, how it was stored, and how it was cooked, painting a picture of an average day that contrasts with the grandeur of the elite. This is the history of the mundane, the overlooked, and the essential, providing the context that makes the grand narratives of the Bible feel more real and more human. It is through these broken shards that we reconstruct the life of the ordinary person who lived in the shadow of the great events we study today. Writing is the bridge between the past and the present, and the discovery of ancient manuscripts on papyrus and vellum has revolutionized our understanding of the biblical texts. These fragile documents, hidden in dry caves or buried in the sand, contain the words that have shaped the course of human history for centuries. By studying the handwriting, the language, and the materials used, scholars can date these texts and determine their provenance with remarkable precision. The discovery of such documents, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, has provided us with a window into the diversity of thought and the fluid nature of text transmission in the ancient world. It shows us that the texts we have today were the result of a long, dynamic process of copying, editing, and preservation that spanned many generations. This evidence forces us to reconsider our assumptions about the fixity of these stories and appreciate the vibrant, living tradition that produced them. Each fragment is a piece of a larger puzzle, helping us understand the evolution of language and the theological development of the ancient communities that nurtured these texts. As we handle these artifacts with extreme care, we are participating in a conversation that began thousands of years ago, honoring the wisdom and the faith of those who chose to record these accounts. It is a testament to the power of the written word to survive the ravages of time, preserving the human spirit in the face of inevitable change. War was a constant reality in the ancient world, a mechanism of change that reshaped borders, destroyed cities, and fundamentally altered the lives of everyone involved. The accounts of these conflicts in the Bible are often dramatic and sweeping, and archaeological excavations confirm the brutality of these ancient engagements. We find evidence of siege ramps, destroyed fortifications, and mass graves that bear silent witness to the carnage of the past. These sites are not just places of historical interest, they are reminders of the human cost of empire building and the desperation of those who fought to defend their homes. By studying the weaponry and the defensive strategies utilized at these sites, we can gain a deeper understanding of the tactical prowess of the ancient armies. We also see the influence of these wars on the social structure, as defeat often led to displacement, slavery, or the total erasure of a city's cultural identity. It is a sobering reality that challenges us to read the narratives with a greater sensitivity to the suffering and the profound loss that accompanied these historical turning points. The story of our past is written in the blood and the ruins of these battles, defining the parameters of the world we live in today. Understanding these events is essential for grasping the motivation behind the ancient writers who recorded these accounts, as they sought to make sense of the world as they experienced it. Many of the most significant discoveries in biblical history have been made in the most unlikely of places, the remote, desolate caves of the desert wilderness. These natural chambers provided a refuge for communities, hermits, and outcasts who sought to preserve their traditions away from the pressures of mainstream society. The discovery of these sites has provided us with an unprecedented look at the religious and political tensions that defined the transition from the ancient to the classical era. Within these caves, we find the remnants of a life lived on the fringes, preserved in the arid environment that prevented the decay of organic materials. These findings range from simple household tools to some of the most important religious documents ever recovered, offering a unique perspective on the diversity of thought at the time. The act of discovery itself is a modern adventure, requiring specialized skills, courage, and a dedication to the pursuit of truth that mirrors the ancient search for meaning. As we explore these sites, we are entering the private sanctuaries of people who chose to withdraw from the world in order to protect their faith and their identity. It is a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of preserving our cultural heritage, even in the most difficult and inaccessible environments. These caves continue to yield their secrets, challenging us to keep digging and keep searching for the truth. The role of the modern archaeologist is a delicate balance of science, history, and a respect for the cultural significance of the sites being excavated. It is not just about finding artifacts, but about carefully reconstructing the past in a way that respects the lives and the beliefs of the people who inhabited these spaces. Every decision, from how to clear a layer of soil to how to document a find, is governed by a strict set of ethical standards. The goal is to provide a neutral, objective analysis that allows the evidence to speak for itself, even when it challenges long-held beliefs or traditions. This requires a deep knowledge of the languages, the cultures, and the environmental conditions of the time, as well as a proficiency in modern technology. The archaeologist is a detective, piecing together the broken fragments of history to tell a story that is both accurate and engaging for a contemporary audience. It is a slow, methodical process that requires patience and a willingness to be proven wrong as new data emerges. The result is a richer, more nuanced understanding of our past that celebrates the complexity and the resilience of the human experience. It is a profession that demands both intellectual rigor and a sense of wonder, keeping us connected to the people who came before us and ensuring that their stories are not lost to time. As we look back at the breadth of our discoveries, we see a story of humanity that is both familiar and profoundly foreign, a tapestry of struggle, faith, and survival. The archaeological evidence provides a necessary check on our interpretations, keeping us rooted in the physical reality of the ancient world. It reminds us that behind every story are real people with real lives, real families, and real dreams that were just as vibrant as our own. We have uncovered the city gates, the temples, and the humble pottery of a world that once was, and in doing so, we have come to know it a little bit better. The journey of discovery is never truly finished, as every new find raises new questions and challenges us to rethink what we know. It is an invitation to explore the deepest layers of our heritage and to find common ground in the shared history of the human race. We are all part of a larger, ongoing narrative that began long ago and continues to be written by each generation. By engaging with this history, we gain a deeper appreciation for the present and a clearer vision for the future, informed by the lessons of those who walked these paths before us. We hope this documentary has sparked a new curiosity about the foundations of our world and the power of archaeological discovery to illuminate the past. The stories of the ancient world are not just relics of a bygone era, they are the bedrock upon which our own societies have been constructed. Whether you are driven by faith, historical interest, or a simple love for discovery, there is always more to learn and more to uncover. We encourage you to continue this exploration, to read, to study, and to engage with the evidence for yourself as you seek to understand our collective human journey. The past is waiting to be heard, and it is through our collective curiosity that we ensure these stories remain alive for future generations. Thank you for joining us on this 4K cinematic journey through the silent ruins and the vibrant history of our ancient ancestors. There is so much more to see, to think about, and to share as we continue our quest for truth. If you found this journey into the ancient past as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button to help others find this story. We are just getting started, and your support makes it possible for us to bring these stories to life. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on our latest investigations. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below, so please share your perspective and let us know what historical mystery you want us to explore next. Thank you for being part of our community and for helping us share these important stories with the world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep searching for the truth. See you in the next one.